When applying UI and UX in your project, you may have been confused about how to set the canvas scaler. Incorrect canvas scaler settings make collaboration with UI designers difficult. And when the UI work has been carried out for a considerable period of time, canvas scaler setting becomes impossible. As such, canvas scaler settings should be carefully reviewed before being applied to actual projects. To do that, we should learn about the features of Unity's canvas scaler. This mode fixes the pixel size of UI elements regardless of screen size. In other words, the higher the resolution of the screen, the smaller the size of the UI elements. Note the UI group at the top left of the screen. The UI group's parent is made to be 360 width by 240 units height. On a screen of 800 by 480 pixels, this UI group is displayed in an appropriate size. However, if we increase the screen resolution, we can see that all UI images get smaller. To solve this problem, you can increase the scale factor value. This mode relates to pixel density, which should be taken into account when creating a mobile app or web design. Both iPhone and Android phones display graphic elements by applying a factor of 3 from the standard resolution. Today's smartphones have high-resolution screens that average over 2,000 pixels wide, and each model has a different pixel density. So Apple and Google created units of pixel density called point and dp respectively. For more information on pixel density, please refer to the URL in the detailed description of the tutorial. In some cases, the scale factor is doubled on iPhone 11 and other devices with low screen resolution. When using this option, it is recommended to create a corresponding code according to the device model or set the scale factor value to 2.5. This mode helps to automatically increase or decrease the size of UI elements according to the screen resolution. This setting is suitable for a wide range of screen resolutions, from smartphones and tablets to desktop computers. In reference resolution, the user can directly set the reference resolution. To be clear, please note that this resolution is not the native resolution of the device screen. If the resolution of the device is greater than the reference resolution, the UI elements will be larger and vice versa. Note, depending on your project's aspect ratio, you will need to set the X and Y resolutions proportionally. If the wrong reference resolution is set, UI elements will not scale properly according to the resolution change. Screen Match Mode is a function that allows you to directly adjust the canvas area when the device's resolution is different from the reference resolution. If the match number is close to 0, it will scale based on the width of the canvas. Conversely, if the number is close to 1, the canvas expands vertically. This is equivalent to setting the Screen Match Mode to expand or shrink. Based on when the rotation state of the screen is landscape, if the value of match is 0, it is the same as expand mode. Conversely, if the value of match is 1, it will be the same as set in shrink mode. As in the example, if the parent's rect transform is not the stretch method, you can see that the expand mode is effective in the landscape screen. Adjusting the match value can vary for different situations, so I recommend setting it to 0.5 if you don't know which one is best for you. Also, when using a UI that covers the entire screen, it is recommended to apply stretch to the parent UI to respond to various resolutions. This scale mode makes UI elements maintain their physical size regardless of screen size and resolution. The physical unit option changes the position and size of UI elements to the units set by the user. Physical unit provides a total of 5 units. The default setting is point, which is the smallest of these 5 units. A pica is 12 times the size of a point. So 1 pica equals 12 points. 1 inch is equivalent to 6 picas. To sum it up again, 1 point ultimately corresponds to about 0.35 millimeters. Concepts can be difficult, so let's look at a pre-made example. At the top right of the screen there is a separate UI group for the constant physical size mode. It has a small size of 40 units in width and 20 units in height. However, the difference is significant when viewed on the screen of a real device. If I change the units to millimeters, you will see that the size of the UI is larger. In terms of logical size, 40 points has changed to about 14 millimeters. But the size of the UI is not accurate due to the screen's DPI and screen size. As you can see in the sample UI, this mode is very tricky to use because of the difference between what you see in the editor and on a real device. This mode is intended for screens that are fixed at a specific DPI, rather than being used for multiple types of screens. If you are planning your game for the mobile environment, I do not recommend using this scaled mode. Fallback screen DPI is the default DPI value set when it is difficult to determine the device's screen DPI. The default value is 96, and this number corresponds to the DPI value of full HD screens. Default sprite DPI is the number of pixels per inch that will be applied to UI images. This option has the same function as pixels per unit. The higher the value, the more pixels the image has. In this way, we looked at 3 ways to resize the UI canvas. A summary of each mode is as follows. My most recommended mode is Scale with Screen Size. For the reference resolution, apply the standard resolution of the test phone you have, or apply the standard resolution of the most sold device. The lower resolution reference resolution is particularly related to the use of fonts. The size of the basic text used in the document editor is usually around 12 points. This avoids confusion between UI designers and Unity workers due to font sizes. For screen match mode, it is recommended to select Expand if the screen of the project is landscape, and Shrink if it is portrait. If your app supports screen rotation, or if you don't know what to do, I recommend setting the match value to 0.5. Before actual UI work, it is recommended to make a prototype UI and test it on at least 2 different devices. Thank you. See you next time.